wondered why a few people always get successful and other people always end up being a failure, no matter what they do? Did you ever experience frustration when things don't go as planned? Hopelessness hits every time you try something wholeheartedly but didn't get rewarded for your efforts. You feel like you are all alone in this struggle. All these negative thoughts bring uncertainty, resentment, and emptiness. No, I'm not reading your mind. I'm talking about something that Dr. Maxwell Maltz calls failure mechanism in his book titled Cybernatics. The book was written in 1960, but it is still one of the top self-help books in the world. In this video, I will summarize the key lessons from the book. So let's get started. You must have known a kid in school who always got low grades. Teachers scolded him for not studying and not paying attention. Let's call him Jack. No matter how much Jack tries to get good grades, he always ended up being the one with the lowest grade. So eventually, Jack himself accepted and started saying that he was a failure. He couldn't understand mathematics. It's almost like he was proving to himself and the world right about the image he was building in his mind about not being good at maths. Dr. Maxwell associates this behavior with self-image. He says the human mind accumulates enough proof to believe in the image that the world is creating for it. In the above case, Jack repeatedly got scolded for his low marks, which made him build an image in his mind about not being good at his studies. And he started identifying with his mistakes and failures. You probably have heard such statements. This is the way I am. I can't remember names. I'm bad at playing sports, etc. Instead of saying, I failed, people start to say, I am a failure. All of us have some false beliefs about ourselves, which we end up proving right over and over. Dr. Maltz was a plastic surgeon who often saw his patients struggling in dealing with their flaws, and they thought correcting their physical flaws would help them to improve their self-image. Once, a very shy lady came to his clinic. She had a hump on her nose, which always made her lose confidence in herself. So the doctor performed the surgery and gave her a classic nose and a flawless face. After the recovery, when the doctor asked how she felt, she replied, I can't find any difference, and my face is still ugly. The doctor showed the before and after pictures and asked to compare them again, and her reply was, I can see the difference now, but I feel the same. Dr. Maltz says this was just one of the many cases in which the scar on the outside got healed, but the inner scar continued to haunt his patients. And this encouraged him to devote his life to finding answers and helping his patients recover on the inside. So he started researching more about our subconscious mind. One of the things he realized was that our subconscious mind is not biased. You give it goals for achieving success, and it will operate as a success mechanism. Or give it negative goals and it operates as a failure mechanism. Now do you understand why you feel the way you feel? So how can you change your self-image? The answer is using the power of your creative imagination. Now I'm sure right now you think you already know the power of imagination, but somehow I have a feeling that you don't. If you did, you wouldn't pick up your phone first thing in the morning and check Instagram or your email. Instead, the first thing you would do would be to sit down and spend 30 minutes creating your new life, your new self-image. So allow me to spend a few minutes explaining the power of imagination with a few examples. Studies have shown that when college students were asked to imagine that one of their hands was immersed in ice-cold water, the temperature reading showed the temperature dropped in that hand. And when they were told to imagine a spot on their foreheads was hot, the temperature reading showed an actual rise in skin temperature. How is this possible? Well, through the power of our belief system. Our nervous system cannot tell the difference between an imagined experience and a real experience. It reacts how it imagines the situation to be true. I would like to tell you the story of Major James Nesmith. He was a prisoner of war and was kept in confinement for 7 years in a cage. During his imprisonment, he saw no one, talked to no one, and had almost no physical contact. For the first few months, he hoped and prayed to get released, but eventually realized that he would go insane if he didn't occupy his mind somewhere else. Without any availability of means, he had no option but to live in his imagination, or he would go insane. He was fond of golf prior to the capture, and golf used to bring him a lot of peace and calm. So he started visualizing himself being on the golf course. the kind of clothes he was wearing, the smell of the freshly cut grass, the warmth of the sun, and birds chirping all around. He would then visualize practicing the swing and hitting the shot. He did this for 7 straight years, playing every angle in his mind. He was released after 7 years, and physically his health deteriorated because of the confined space. But the first thing he did after returning was to go on a golf course. And to everyone's surprise, he hit a 74, which is a brilliant score for someone who had not played golf for 7 years. This is the power of imagination. We should use it to change our self-image. Here is an exercise the author advises. Step 1. Sit on a chair comfortably. Then imagine your left leg turning into concrete, becoming heavier with every passing second. Then bring your focus to your right leg. It also starts turning into concrete, sinking into the floor and becoming heavier and heavier with every passing moment. Come up to your left arm. Feel your fingers getting heavy, then your wrist, and the whole hand is turning concrete up to the shoulders, so heavy that it starts to pull you down with it, and your whole body is tilting to your left side because of it. Then bring your focus to your right hand and feel the same sensations you felt in the left arm. And just like that, do this for all your other body parts. Step 2. Now imagine the exact opposite. Your left leg has become lighter than a feather, so light that it starts to float. There comes a time when you can't feel your leg anymore. Then comes the turn of your right leg, which has started turning lighter too. Imagine all your body parts becoming like a feather, one after another. There comes a point where your whole body feels like it is flying. You have left your chair somewhere on the ground and you have started touching the sky. Step 3. Now that you are fully relaxed, you can start building a new self-image. For example, if you have been shy or introverted, imagine yourself speaking to strangers with ease. If you have fear of swimming, imagine yourself relaxing inside the swimming pool, doing lap after lap and enjoying it. Be as detailed as possible and really feel the positive emotions of it in your body. If you noticed in the above exercise, the first 2 steps were all about physical relaxation. We only started to build our self-image after we are fully relaxed. There's a powerful reason behind this. For example, has this ever happened to you that you wanted something so bad that it started stressing you out and giving you anxiety? You have consciously made every possible effort to get your wish fulfilled, but the success finally came only after you gave up trying. Why is that? Because whenever we try to make conscious efforts, it jams our creative mechanism. You must have experienced an awkward person in social gatherings who is always so self-conscious and all of their moves appear to be calculated and rehearsed. If people learn to let go and stop trying so hard, they could actually start tapping into their creativity and be themselves. For example, whenever he got stuck in a problem, Edison would lie down and take a nap. His naps were not just to get over the tiredness, he was giving a window to his subconscious mind to think creatively about the problem he had to solve. When we relax and let our forebrain rest a while, we recharge that part of the brain that is responsible for creative thinking. That is why you often hear people say they get great ideas while in the shower. I know it's easier said than done. It is difficult to let go of the tension, especially when it comes to a situation we want the immediate result. Dr. Maltz suggested relaxing your physical body first, as explained in the previous exercise. With a relaxed body and mind, gradually start to think about the solutions you're looking for. I have 3 more useful lessons from this book that I kept to the end, so if you're not tired, let's check them out. Number 1, how to get a winning feeling. But first, what is this winning feeling? And how can it help you win in every situation? Remember the time when you woke up on the morning of the exam on your favorite subject and you knew in your bones that you were going to kill it that day? Before even knowing what questions are going to come, Or the time when you were waiting to get called for the interview for your dream job, and before the interview you somehow knew that you were going to get the job? It is so difficult to explain this feeling in words, but I'm sure you must have felt it in your life. Nowadays, we also call this gut feeling. So where does this feeling come from? Well, it comes from your creative imagination. And how can you get this feeling? What if I tell you you already know the answer? Everything that you have learned so far in the previous lessons comes together to help you achieve this feeling. So let's sum up. To get this winning feeling or gut feeling, you have to run a successful pattern in your mind. For example, if you are looking forward to your football championship game, then imagine the perfect goal. How you will start, what stance you will take, which leg you would use to make the kick, how near you will be to the goalpost when you kick, and most importantly, how you would feel after making this goal. Everything to the smallest of details. And that's how you can access that winning feeling in many areas of your life. Number 2, how to heal your mind. Whenever we receive a physical injury, such as a cut on our face, our body forms scar tissue on our face, which is both tougher and thicker than the original skin. Think of it as a protective cover against another injury in the same place. And we tend to do the same when it comes to emotional injury. We become stone cold and build a callus on our hearts so that no one can hurt us again. But how can we remove scars from our hearts? This time, we have to do the operation by ourselves. How? Let me explain it with an example. Once a wife discovered that her husband was cheating on her. A lot of people in her life advised her to forgive him for his actions. Being a good wife, she did forgive him. She did not leave him, she kept the house clean and took care of his meals. But still, she made his life hell on earth. And when her husband asked her why she was behaving that way, even after she had already forgiven him, she would reply, "I did forgive you, but I can't forget." Here's the thing. When someone says, "I can forgive, but I can't forget," it simply means, I will not forgive. When it comes to healing emotional scars, forgiveness becomes your sanitizer to clean the wound and heal it. The only catch here is that you must forgive and at the same time, forget it. You don't forgive if you don't forget. Forgiving is the best way to heal your mind because when you are forgiving someone, you are actually forgiving yourself because you are the one who feels those heavy, negative emotions and has to live with them. Number 3, how to stay young. Mr. Russell was a patient of Dr. Maltz. He was a rich man, and his girlfriend denied marrying him because of his too large lower lip. So Mr. Russell came to Dr. Maltz for the surgery. Upon knowing the entire story, Dr. Maltz asked him to tell only one thing to his girlfriend after the surgery: that he spent all his savings on the surgery. And as expected, his girlfriend became furious and called him a fool for having spent all the money on the surgery. She told him that she never loved him and never would. She was only with him for his money. In her anger, she also announced that she was placing a voodoo curse on him. To this statement, Mr. Russell felt uncomfortable, and later he started feeling a small, hard bump on the inside of his lip. He also met with someone who supposedly dealt with voodoo magic, and this person told him that this was an African bug, and it would slowly eat away all his strength. Several weeks later, when Mr. Russell went to see Dr. Maltz for a routine checkup, the nurse could not recognize him. He used to be a tall man with the physique of an athlete, and now he looked like he'd aged 20 years. His hands shook, and his eyes and cheeks were sunken. He'd lost 30 pounds. All these signs are referred to as aging in medical science. After a quick examination, Dr. Maltz assured him that the African bug was nothing but a small scar tissue from his operation. Dr. Maltz took it out and showed it to him. Mr. Russell finally realized the truth and believed it. He looked relieved, and almost instantly, the color of his cheek came back. So you see, the life force inside us thrives on good emotions like faith, happiness, and hope, and deteriorate at a faster pace when encountering stress, anxiety, and frustration. It is also true that being only happy will not help you stay young. For example, suppose you are a dad and your son is getting attacked by a dog. Would you just sit there in the faith that everything will be all right? Or would you take an action and get up from your seat and help your son out? Moving your body plays a vital role in keeping your body young and thriving for a long time. Almost all people who are associated with sports look way younger than their age. This is it for this video. If you would like to learn more about your subconscious mind, then check out the summary of a book called Power of the Subconscious Mind. It should now appear on your screen. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.